Hello there. Welcome to Coffee with...
Wait a minute. Just because we switch sides doesn't mean you're in charge. I switched sides because I have this vest from St. Mary's School, and and Eddie Bauer. I didn't want Eddie Bauer to be on the thing, so everybody can see my St. Mary's School. So I switched sides. That's the only reason why I switched sides.
If they're not sponsoring us, we're not going to give them free promotion. So unless maybe they want to kick in and maybe get us some free swag. I don't know.
Oh, no, we don't.
Or if Vineyard Vines wants to come in, get the little whale on there. I don't know. We're open to it.
Hello, my name is Archbishop Christopher Coyne, and this is Coffee with the Archbishop. Welcome. And David's with me again, as usual, every other, twice a month we have these conversations, and I always let him take the lead.
That's right.
So he came to me yesterday and said, how about this? And I said, okay. So then I had to do a little research.
Right. So we are going to, I want to ask you what you thought of this year's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees, whether you like them, whether they're worthy of such an accolade. What do you think?
Well, first of all, I didn't know who they were because I didn't pay any attention to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 2025. I haven't paid attention to the inductees. The only thing I do is there's been some great live performances from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, like Prince's performance of While My Guitar Gently Weeps is just over the top, great. And then, Bruce Springsteen and others that I love. But I really don't. But then you said, let's talk about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So I had to go and do some research. You sent me the link, and you asked me what I thought about them.
Is that commentary in and of itself that you didn't even know who the inductees were? Has the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame veered into a sort of irrelevance in 2025?
Well, I wouldn't say that in general for the pop. I would say just for me, it doesn't register.
Sure. Okay.
I remember when it first opened, and they had like the real giants of rock and roll.
Right.
And I kind of looked at the list, and there was 2 or 3 people I had no idea who they were. Then I found out that they were studio musicians.
Right.
Which is great because a lot of times these people are behind like thousands of songs, and you don't know that they were actually playing the bass on it, or they were playing the keyboards on it, and all.
Yeah, Carol Kay played bass on an endless number of songs as part of the Wrecking Crew, who played on all the big hit singles, from the '60s, and
it's kind of like country music too in Nashville. There was during the height of the '60s and '70s, there was just these backups that just they were on every country music song in the background, singing away. So I thought it was that, but I think when there was a while there where they were only like inducting 2 or 3 a year, and now they're up to like 10, 12. I think it's just watered down. All right, I grew up with Bad Company.
Okay, yeah, I figured maybe that was a band maybe you listened to when you were in high school.
Yeah, and there was a lot of hits. They had a lot of hits.
Yeah.
So I could say,
hits enough to be worthy of being in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. Okay.
They said, well, if you're going to let Cyndi Lauper in. I have no problem letting Bad Company in.
Right.
Cyndi Lauper, she had 2 or 3 songs, and her biggest one was "Girls Just Want to Have Fun,"
Right.
And all that. So kind of a one-hit wonder. And then Outkast.
Bit of a stretch, yeah.
Outkast, they had that one big double album with a couple of songs on it, and that's about it. So it's like
this is interesting. So as you're getting closer to the bands that were bigger when I was in high school, I feel like a little bit of like a defensive mechanism kicking in here, where I want to defend Outkast a bit.
We're gonna have a fight over White Stripes.
Yes, yeah, that much has been established.
Okay. But what about, so you think Outkast is worthy of the Hall of Fame?
Well, I will say I think they had more than just a few hits off the double album. So the double album you're referring to is Speakerboxxx, The Love Below, which I think came out in 2004. And that had Hey Ya, which is, a generational hit. Yeah. That is timeless. And it also had Roses. But before that, I think it was the album before that, they did Stankonia, which had Miss Jackson, Bombs Over Baghdad. Okay. I mean, those are big songs, Okay, Hall of Fame worthy? I don't know, but they have they had some chops, in the studio, big songs.
Yeah.
You don't like Miss Jackson? You're not sorry, Miss Jackson?
No, they just didn't register on me,
Okay, fair
enough.
And
then there's Soundgarden, which they're one of the bleakest bands. Their songs are just incredibly bleak. But that was.
So you weren't a grunge guy in the '90s?
No.
Okay.
No. I was a heavy metal guy when I was lifting a lot of weights. I listened to heavy metal.
See, that's funny because it's harder than grunge.
Yeah, but it also had it wasn't enervating. It didn't de-energize me.
Sure. Okay. It wasn't just bleak. Is there a bleakness to grunge? Is that what?
Well, yeah. Jara Flies by Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
Man in the Box.
What about Nirvana?
Oh,
the Kings of
then of course the poor guy kills himself.
I know.
And then he had his wife, and she's trying to. I'm not even gonna go there.
When it comes to grunge, I'm more of a, it's often said that Britpop was like a reaction to grunge. So I love if we're talking early '90s stuff, I love Britpop bands like Pulp and Oasis and Blur and those kind of groups. But I gravitate more towards the posh Britpop stuff versus the American grunge.
Okay.
But
they have Chubby Checker.
They do have Chubby Checker.
Okay, he should have been in a long time ago.
I was surprised. Well, I was surprised to see him on the list because I would have figured that he would have been in there already. Yeah. The Twist?
Oh God, yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
They do limbo rock too.
Chubby was.
Do you do the limbo at like a wedding or something?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I don't dance at weddings. I can barely walk.
I'm not a dancer either. Were you once a dancer? Were you known to cut a rug at a wedding or like
Before I got ordained, I used to have a lot of fun dancing.
Okay.
We used to club and all that.
So what you're saying is once you got ordained, all the fun
cut
stuff.
A rug.
Yeah.
You're dating yourself. My generation, and you use the phrase "cut a rug." That's like Grandpa's generation.
It is. Yeah.
So the last one is very controversial.
The White Stripes.
The White Stripes.
Yeah. I am not the biggest ever fan of turkey.
But you like White Stripes.
I do, yeah, as we established.
Okay, first of all, they claimed for a while to be sister and brother.
Correct.
But they weren't.
No, they were husband and wife.
And he took her
last name. Yeah. He was born John Gillis.
Yeah.
And she was always Meg White, and he became Jack White, which I think is more of a rock and roll name versus John Gillis. John Gillis, you sound like.
Hey, listen, my nephews and nieces are Gillises.
Are they Gillises?
Yeah. Stephen Gillis is their father, and my sister's married. So there's nothing wrong with Gillis.
Oh no, I'm not saying there's anything wrong. I'm just saying it's not as overtly like rock and roll.
Jack White.
Jack White the third.
So yeah.
He's a third too. Okay, so here's the White Stripes story I want to share. First off, I love the White Stripes. They hit their peak when I was in high school, and they were a big band if you were into like indie rock, alternative rock in high school. But the one White Stripes memory I have that I want to share is it reminds me, for me, the White Stripes are a band that remind me of a time when listening to music was a far less solitary thing, and I'll tell you exactly what I mean. One day, I had ordered, because we're talking 2003. This is pre-music streaming, pre-Spotify, pre-all that, pre-YouTube, pre-high-speed internet. The White Stripes came out with their album Elephant, which of course opens with Seven Nation Army, their biggest song. And I had ordered it through the mail because I wanted it, and I wanted it to arrive at my house when it came out. And that day, my friend Evan was coming home from school with me on the bus because we had to work on a project together on Machiavelli's The Prince. I'll never forget. And Elephant came that day. So needless to say, not a whole lot of work was done on the Prince project, but we listened to it over and over together, and we got to share this new release together and listen to it, and we were going nuts, and we taped it onto his mini disc player so he could have a copy of it. And that night we probably listened to it like 3 different times. And it was just such a fun memory to me where like you get to enjoy something with someone, but now we all listen to music in solitude, I
know what you're talking about. One day I was on retreat and I was praying and I felt so close to the Lord Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Right. So you know exactly what I'm talking about.
It was a semi-religious moment.
Yeah, a bit. Elephant's an amazing album.
Okay.
Your homework, after now that I'm in your chair, I have assumed the role of the episcopacy of the Archdiocese of Hartford.
For live streaming.
Okay.
And
to offer to you that you ought to listen to Elephant by the White Stripes because it's an amazing album.
And
enjoying something together.
That's the only reason why you wanted to talk about this today is because your group got in the Hall of Fame. I think it's way watered down.
Well, I also want to talk about how much I love Warren Zevon, but I think we're out of time.
Werewolves of London, baby.
Yes, I was turned on to him where Dylan in 2002 covered a bunch of his songs when Zevon very publicly was in his health decline. Dylan had covered Accidentally Like a Martyr, Lawyers, Guns, and Money, Mutineer, and Boom Boom Mancini. All great songs, and Dylan does them great justice.
Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Okay, so now it's coming back to me. So I'm Archbishop Christopher Coyne, not him, and you've been watching Coffee with the Archbishop.